So let's talk about last week's Nintendo Direct. I gotta say, it caught me by surprise. I know there was a lot of rumors creeping up right before the Nintendo Direct with a lot of, rumored games coming out. And to me, a lot of them felt very far-fetched, but here we are with all those announcements. And man, I gotta tell you, very, very surprised about what they announced and, just everything in general pretty much. But before we get into that, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out. It looks like about 80% of you guys are not subscribing. So definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let us know in the comment section below what would you like to see us cover. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. Oh, I did want to mention that I'm really going to only pick out the highlights, like the stuff that really stood out for me. I'm not going to go down the list of every game because there's quite a few games that to me I just didn't really care about. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So I'm going to start off with a game that I feel like is not getting a lot of hype, and that is Myth Force. Myth Force actually looks to bring that Saturday morning cartoon vibe. Think like He-Man or even stuff like Space Ghost and stuff like that. Those classic, I would say like the Hanna-Barbera, cartoons. It kind of reminds me of that stuff, but it looks like it's a dungeon crawler where you can do up to 4 players co-op, which I think is pretty awesome because there's not that many, I'll say, co-op games that are not shooters, because we have the Call of Duties and the Fortnites and all these other things where you can run squads. But when it comes to using like swords, axes, magic, bows, arrows, all those things, there's not really a lot of that out there, but this looks to bring that co-op dungeon crawling vibe to the Nintendo Switch and also other platforms. I believe it is already confirmed for PC and PlayStation, possibly Xbox as well. I would assume Xbox, but I have to double check that. But anyways, it looks pretty cool. It's a dungeon crawler where you have different classes. You can go ahead and run through the dungeons. You do co-op, team up together and go through. Looks really fun. This is definitely going to be on my radar because we are always looking for, just co-op games to play, and this is definitely one of them. The other thing I really liked is they did show off a little bit more of Sonic Superstars, which I'm actually very excited for. It's a nice, 4-player co-op game coming to all platforms. And really, it's nice to have another 2D Sonic game. As much as I love the 3D Sonic games, think Sonic Adventures, even Frontiers, I haven't played all of it. I played some of it, but I do really like the concept of it. 2D Sonic is one of those things that, I could just always go back to. And 2D games just in general, especially the classic games, it's just kind of like a dying breed. There's not too many of those, say, like Sonic going 2D, even Mario, which we're going to talk about later on. But I do like that, they're going back to their roots, going back to what made them, what brought Sonic back on the map, which was Sonic Mania. I do like that they're doing that. This game looks really fun. It looks to blend the modern 3D elements, but so far, physics-wise, it definitely looks a lot better. It looks like you actually do go fast versus Sonic the Hedgehog 4, right? We all remember that mess where, yeah, it was very, very slow. I do like that there's also different powers that you can do. So it allows you to do, one allows you to go, climb up a waterfall. There's some other stuff that they showed off there. So that is pretty cool. We got to see more information about that. Then they showed off Batman Arkham Trilogy, and that's something, me personally, I'm not excited for, but this was also rumored for quite some time. And I guess for people who want to play it on the go, I have a Steam Deck, I would rather play it on the Steam Deck. But if you want to play it on the go and you don't have a Steam Deck, hey, there you go. You can play Batman Arkham Trilogy, which comes with Arkham Asylum, which is actually my favorite Batman game, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. All 3 of them will be available on Nintendo Switch. What kind of sucks is when you buy the physical cart, only 1 game is coming on there. The other 2, you have to download, which kind of sucks, but I think Switch players are kind of used to that. Vampire Survivors is finally coming to the Nintendo Switch, and it's kind of one of those things that's why wasn't it already on the Nintendo Switch? But anyways, it's kind of cool. It is coming to the Nintendo Switch with couch co-op, which again, going back to that co-op aspect of it, I do like that we're getting another co-op game, even though this one is technically a shooter, right? But it is nice that it's coming to Nintendo Switch. Pretty excited for everybody who's going to be playing it on Nintendo Switch. And then they also did show off the DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We got to see more of what they're gonna come out with, and actually some release windows, which is fall 2023 and winter 2023, which, remember, can go into early 2024. I am kind of excited to play this DLC, but there's still no announcement of that patch that fixes the frame rate and everything revolving around that. Honestly, that's what I've been waiting for. I hope by the time these comes out there is a patch for that, or maybe when these come out, the patch releases at the same time. I just want this patch so I can go ahead and finish Violet. I did enjoy the game. I liked everything about it, except for the performance. and I know a lot of people couldn't stick with the performance. For me, it didn't bother me that much, but I got to the point where I was like, yeah, I want to finish the game, but I am waiting for that performance patch. And speaking of DLC, we also got a new course coming out with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And that was basically, they showed off, I don't think they said a name, but it looks like a bathtub or something like that, which is pretty cool. And then they announced 3 riders. We got Petey Piranha, Wiggler, and Comic, all coming as characters that you can play as in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is kind of cool. I do like that they're expanding the roster while also adding all these courses. I do hope that's not the only course, because we are getting 3 characters, but they only showed off 1 course. I assume we're gonna get 3, or actually no, more than 3 other courses in this wave, because that's what we've been getting pretty much for every wave. So can't wait to see that. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still fun, and you know, I guess the faster they get done with this wave, the faster they're gonna start working on Mario Kart 9, right? That's if it's not already in development for the new Nintendo Switch. Another game that actually has my interest by quite a lot, which was funny because before this game was announced, I was just reminiscing about the old days of the games that were coming out. Like, there's a game called Billy Hatcher. I'm not sure if any of you guys played it before, but I've really been wanting to play it, and I'm dying to play this game, and I will play it eventually. I'm trying to pick the right time, and I'm actually going to stream this game live because it will be my first time playing it. The first time that I actually heard about this game was because of the soundtrack was pretty cool. But anyways, I was thinking about, there haven't been a lot of other 3D platformers outside of like Mario, and I mean, I guess if you consider Sonic a platform, that's really the only 2 things out there. We did have like a Hat in Time, but that was years ago. Other than that, we haven't really gotten much in terms of like good platformers. Well, in comes Penny's Big Breakaway, which is a 3D platformer made by the developer who did Sonic Mania, which is actually pretty cool. I am super excited for this game. I'm glad that we have a new 3D platformer. I will definitely be keeping my eyes out on this because this looks very interesting. I do want to play it, and I have hope because Sonic Mania was amazing. So I'm pretty sure they can do something with 3D over here in, you know, in Penny, what is it? Penny's Big Breakaway? Man, keep forgetting the name of that. But yeah, definitely keep an eye out for Penny's Big Breakaway. Now going on to Nintendo first party titles, they did show off a little bit more of Pikmin 4, which is pretty cool. The only Pikmin game I've ever played was Pikmin 3, and I only played a little bit of it, and I did enjoy the little bit I played of it. But I mean, with Pikmin 4, I do want to get it, but it's one of those things that I might wait to get. It's not going to be a day one for me, unfortunately. But for you Pikmin fans, there are some cool announcements. Pikmin 1 and 2 are available already, which is pretty awesome. So you can go ahead and play 1 and 2 and 3 on the Nintendo Switch right now, and then 4 is coming out. So you can actually play all 4 Pikmin games on one console. Man, could you imagine that? Could you imagine if you could play all Zelda games on one console? Right? Nintendo, come on. Where's our Wind Waker and Twilight Princess? So speaking of Zelda, no, they did not announce Twilight Princess or Wind Waker. Instead, we're getting 2 amiibos based off Tears of the Kingdom. We're getting Zelda and Ganondorf, which is pretty cool. As you can see over here, can you see it? Yeah, you can't see it. I just had to double check. Yeah, I am a pretty big amiibo collector. I actually have a YouTube short based off all the amiibos that I collected, so definitely check out that short there. But these 2 new amiibos, they did announce coming holiday 2023, which could be, again, anywhere from about November-ish to the end of December. Now, one of the games they announced is probably tied for my most anticipated game now for the rest of the year. It's Super Mario RPG, and man, am I excited for that. I actually started playing this not that long ago. I want to say maybe in the beginning of the year on my Steam Deck, and I even, mentioned it in the podcast. I am glad that I didn't finish it. I only got up to, I want to say, the first boss. I believe I got to the first boss and just kind of stopped there because something came out. Actually, now that I think about it, it might have been last year that I started it, because I believe I stopped playing it because Crisis Core came out. So it would have been about last year. But anyways, super excited for this Super Mario RPG here. It's going to be a full-on remake. You can see they have cutscenes there, which is nice. They remodeled everything, but trying to keep it also true to form. So you're not going to get like a giant Mario or anything like that. They're trying to make them, I guess, about the same in terms of the, what's the right word I'm looking for? I guess like the, not aspect ratio, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. Basically, the characters kind of look very similar, just in modern graphics, so I'm very excited for it. And of course, like I said, they're adding cutscenes. So now instead of them playing out with just all these other things, or in like that isometric top, or like almost like a side, like corner view, you'll actually get cutscenes for the bigger events, which is pretty cool. Other than that, it kind of looks like Super Mario RPG. I'm super excited for. And Yoko Shimomura is going to redo the soundtrack, which I can't wait. All her music is always amazing in any video game. I, of course, was first introduced to her. Actually, let me rephrase that. I first knew about her when Kingdom Hearts came out, and then of course, once I did a little bit of digging, realized she did like From Mission 3 soundtrack, From Mission 1, 2, Super Mario RPG, Street Fighter 2, like a bunch of like my childhood soundtracks. So I'm definitely super excited for that, and this is tied for my most anticipated game. The other one I will mention later on. But speaking of Mario, Super Mario Wonder was also announced, which looks amazing, I gotta say. You know, when New Super Mario Bros. Came out, I was kind of like, it's cool, it's a 2D Mario. Wasn't really digging the art style or anything like that, but I played it, they were fun. Went through it, was like, okay, cool. I remember playing New Super Mario Bros. U. It was actually, I think, my first Wii U game. Played that through, enjoyed it, you know, it was a lot of fun and stuff like that. But this game looks to be way better than that. Just the movement, and not only that, it's the small details of Mario. Like, you know, when he's just standing there, you can see kind of like his hat move up while he's like grinding. Just the movement, the facial expressions that they all make when they're doing certain things. It looks like they really paid attention to detail in terms of like the littlest things. They went all out. The art style looks different. Mario kind of looks different. Like, I'm not exactly sure what it is about him, but he looks different. It doesn't look like classic Mario. It's almost like they blended Mario and like the Mario movie design together and trying to make like a good balance there, which, hey, I have no problem with. This Mario actually looks cool. Super Mario Wonder just looks amazing. It looks like they also took a note from Yoshi's Island, because you can kind of get like all this trippy stuff going on when you get like a flower or something. I don't know, there's like some crazy stuff going on, but definitely I'm super excited for it, and I can't wait. That comes out, I believe, October 20th, so I'm super excited for that. Tied for, well, actually that's coming out on the same day as Spider-Man, I believe. Oh man. But I did forget to mention that along with Super Mario RPG, they did announce a Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which is basically Luigi's Mansion 2 remaster. That originally came out to 3DS. They are porting it to the Switch and remastering it, which is pretty cool. So I guess technically soon you'll be able to play 2 and 3. Makes you wonder, are they going to port 1 as well, so you can play all of Luigi's Mansion on the Nintendo Switch? I don't know. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Or maybe they'll just allow GameCube games on Nintendo Switch, right? Just have them available so you can play. That's another option that they can do. But they did announce that, and they announced a new Princess Peach game, which actually looks pretty fun. When they first showed it, I thought it was a new Paper Mario game, because it looks like you have like a stage that you play on. But it's definitely not Paper Mario, because you are not in paper form. It's a brand new Princess Peach game, which looks very interesting. It does have my attention. Both of these games are believed to come out next year. They're definitely not coming out this year, but I believe they said it's coming out sometime next year. And that's pretty much it when it comes to like Nintendo's first party. There was some other stuff that they announced, like WarioWare, a new WarioWare at that, which looks pretty fun. Definitely excited for that. And then of course they announced like the next Splatfest, and I believe that was it in terms of first party stuff. I might be missing stuff, but I do want to mention 2 other pretty big games that are not first party. One of them is Dragon Quest Monsters. We're finally getting a new Dragon Quest Monsters game. It looks amazing. Graphically, they're pretty much using the same graphics engine as Dragon Quest 11. At least that's what it looks like. But of course, it's just going to be a Monsters game. For those of you who've never played a Dragon Quest Monsters game, think Pokemon, but Dragon Quest, right? You collect the Dragon Quest monsters instead. They fight for you. You go through a story. It's a deep RPG experience. Definitely amazing. Highly recommend it. I love the Dragon Quest franchise, so this is a game that's definitely on my radar. The other one, which is actually tied for my most anticipated game that's coming out this year, is Star Ocean: The Second Story R, which is basically a remake of Star Ocean, The Second Story. For those of you who've never played a Star Ocean game, highly recommend them. Typically, Star Ocean 2 and 3, which 3 is Till the End of Time, which was on PS2, are always seen as the top 2, where I believe most people say that 2 is the best. I've never played this one, which I am very glad they're doing a remake of it, and I really like the art style they're going with. Rather than do what they did with Star Ocean 1R, that what they're doing with this one is basically they're going ahead and mixing 3D elements while also using 2D sprites as the main characters there, which I think is pretty cool. So it's not too much, it's not really Octopath Traveler in terms of HD 2D. They're just using 2 different elements and blending them together. I do like it. It looks amazing. When you actually look at this trailer, which you should be seeing right now, it looks really, really good. Like, I am super hyped to play this game. I don't know if I'm gonna get it on Switch or PlayStation and PC. I haven't really decided. I'm probably leaning towards the Nintendo Switch because that's where I usually play a lot of my RPGs that are not exclusive. But we'll wait and see what happens there. But I am super excited. This is actually the other game I'm very hyped for this year, that tied with Super Mario RPG. But like I said, I'm also very excited for Dragon Quest Monsters. Again, if you haven't played a Monsters game, highly recommend it. If you haven't played a Dragon Quest game, what are you waiting for? You gotta play Dragon Quest. Amazing franchise. People are upset that Final Fantasy 16 is not turn-based. But why don't you just go to Dragon Quest? Dragon Quest has always been there. Go ahead and play that game. I guarantee you, you'll love it. But yeah, basically those are all the games I was super excited to see come to the Nintendo Switch, and pretty much they were announcing this the Nintendo Direct. I know like Sonic Superstars wasn't really announced at the Nintendo Direct, but still nonetheless I was excited to see more content there. But I want to say for the most part, most of the games that I mentioned were announced on the Nintendo Direct, which was pretty good. And hey, the biggest thing about this Nintendo Direct is everything had gameplay. Again, I've said this so many times on the podcast. I hate when these events happen and there's no gameplay. We get these in-engine trailers, we don't see a UI or anything like that. I do like that Nintendo's very strict on that, making sure that we do see gameplay in all these games. You know, minus a few times they've done it, like when Tears of the Kingdom was announced, Metroid Prime 4, where we only got a logo. They did the same thing with Bayonetta 3. But nonetheless, at least here, we got gameplay for every single game they showed off. And not only that, every game is coming within at least a year. And the majority of those were coming out definitely before the end of this year. Which is, in my opinion, that's exactly how you do a game show. Microsoft, Sony, take a look at Nintendo. Look at what they're doing, because they are doing things right. Just follow that. Just follow that. That's all you gotta do. We don't need to see your CGI trailers. We don't need to see these cinematics or anything like that. We want to see video games gameplay, right? You know, hence, we play a game for its gameplay along with its story, but we do always want to see gameplay. But anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow us over at Twitch, where we do stream pretty much 3 days out of the week. And then every Sunday we do have the Random Encounter podcast, where you can check me, Fan, Big Mike, Ash, and MP Sensei. You can check all of us out, where we give you all the latest and greatest gaming news. My name is James from the Random Encounter, and I'll catch you guys next time.